What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with the latest episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And we're talking a little bit about daily schedule. So what do you do? What do you do every day? What does Greg do every day? Something I've never wanted to know, but now desperately want to know. We're going to talk about a little bit about his daily schedule. We'll talk about with some of the other top producers that we know in the business and how they run their day. And maybe talk about some other fun stuff with marketing because, of course, this is a live Friday episode. We have Gene Volpe, the Volpinator, the evil bald ninja himself is with us. We have no other guest, so Gene actually gets to talk this time. But I'm not going to let you now because the Junior Grandmaster is also in the co-pilot seat, and I'm bringing him in first. Greg, what's up?
Fair enough.
Yeah, blow me, Volpe. Trying to steal my thunder. Jesus. Dude, it's good to be here. The three of us were laughing our asses off air. Oh my God. We should just record that and I can use it as leverage over Matt at some future time. I'm not sure when I would, but it would be amazing to do so. Dude, okay, so I was telling you guys about this off air and I want to show you guys that I people tried to play me this week. And if you guys are seeing this on the video, I'm holding up 2 letters that I received from the fake to collection companies, and just keep your eyes and ears open out there, guys. They said they kind of scared me because they're like, yeah, we have a dissident or dissident. I'm dyslexic, I can't read this, but basically they had a warrant out for me, right? Matt, don't look at me like I'm strange. And they had
got it. I was trying to figure out what word it is because I remember you said it off air and you got it right and didn't think anything of it at the time. But it wasn't from a collection. This is not like a credit card collection company. No. This implied it was from like the tax enforcement agency of your county. It looks very official. It has a government seal of some kind on it. Like it looks, for anybody who's not watching on a video, if you're listening, like this is a very legit looking thing. To the point where, Greg, you sent it down to your CPA, you made some calls. Like this was, they're getting pretty good.
Yeah, I called the franchise tax board. I'm like, hey guys, did you guys send me this? Did I have something that I'm not aware of? They're like, no, dude, you're cool. And then I talked to my CPA, bro. I was like, bring him down, man. I've never heard of this, but bring it down. So I brought it down to him. He looked through it, and the quote, Greg, this is a fucking scam. Thanks, Tom. But. Dude, the numbers didn't match up. The dates didn't match up. Nothing matched up. So don't believe everything that comes in the mail, guys, just because it looks official. Verify before you pay. And if there's a CVS involved or a Western Union, tell them to go shove a card up their ass. Like Gene got told when he got a call from the scammers.
That's right.
That was awesome.
Oh, man. Well, Gene, first of all, welcome. I know we can't tell your story necessarily about the fun that you've had with like a scam telemarketer, but let's just say you had some fun with them.
I always try to, and it's one of those. It's always one of those very counterproductive things where 45 minutes goes by, and I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't I supposed to be doing something efficient?
Yeah, something.
Yeah. I love messing with. Look, let's just do a PSA real quick, shall we? Okay. If you get something in the mail or you get a phone call from a tax board division or there's a warrant out for your arrast, and see, in Greg's case, there's probably multiple warrants out for his arrest, so I can see why
one.
That's why I thought you were looking at him weird, right? But I think just do yourself a service, start Googling that stuff to start, and then talk to people that are in the know before you start writing out checks, please. Just do that. You'll be good.
Yeah, and actually go down. Most law enforcement division, like city law enforcements, will have a real estate crime division now. So you can go down, walk it into the police department. Go, I got this. Is this bullshit?
Well, be careful. Be careful, because if you do have a warrant out for your arrest and you walk into the police department, they may keep you there. Not that I would know.
That sounds like a man with unique knowledge.
Sir, let me just like tapping away at the computer, and you're like,
step in this room for us for 1 second.
May have been a bad idea. Okay. All right, let's talk about, well, first of all, Gene, spending 26 minutes on the phone with a telemarketing scammer, that sounds like a terrible use of one's time. I would never do such a thing. So we're going to talk about, that's a great segue. So that's what we in the business like to call a segue. We're going to talk about how to actually use your time and not get stuck.
I don't think it's fair that you get to judge me. You wake up at 6:30, you meditate for a half hour. I wake up at 11:30. I mess around with the people on the phone. I don't understand why yours is better than mine.
Everyone's got their priorities in life. Matt does naked yoga, and Gene messes with telemarketers. Each to their own.
Thank you, Greg, for assuming it was naked yoga. Okay. So I have to. All right. We might start with this because this came across my bow, and I just think it's funny, and I want to talk about it. So I pulled up Facebook to check on the Facebook live feed, right? So somebody put a very important question that I want to bring to both of you guys. You come home and everyone you've ever dated is sitting on your front porch. What's your reaction?
Oh, fuck. Like, who died? What happened? How bad is it? Do I have a disease that everyone knows about? What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. I got such a kick out of that question. I think I would just walk up and just quietly say,
what would you say?
Yeah, wait, we lost your
Daddy's
audio.
What? Are you serious?
You lost your audio, dude.
So well timed. I said I would walk up and I would just say, Daddy's home.
I think I liked it better when I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, me too. I have horrible images going through my mind.
Yeah. Hey, I'm on good terms with exes. I can't think of anybody that if I came home and saw somebody I used to date sitting on my front porch, I wouldn't have to run for my life as far as I know. Now, granted, I could be wrong. I could be theoretically wrong, but at least I don't think so. Nobody's out to kill me. Nobody would have like an axe where I couldn't see one waiting to stab me or slice.
Actually, I'm actually thinking about it. I'm actually on good terms with all of my exes. Do I want to talk to them? Fuck no. But
do you want them talking to each other on the front porch about you? Not necessarily.
Ooh. Hope not. Yeah, they'll all be bragging.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It's not like you don't want to talk to them individually ever again. You don't want them talking to each other. Like, oh, you remember when he does? Oh, I hated that too. It was terrible. Like, oh man. You definitely don't want any of that.
Oh my God,
that sounds terrible. All right, let's talk about daily schedule.
So what's our daily schedule? Our exes are all, conspiring against us.
I got a kick out of that. All right, so daily schedule. I can share mine. Mine obviously isn't as applicable because I'm not in sales, so I don't have to do appointments around consumers' time frames. So mine is. I don't want to go too deep into mine because I feel like it'd be a distraction from what the real question is, which is how do you structure your time to generate leads, go out, do actual real appointments with real human beings who have jobs and lives, and then still have a life yourself outside of doing that. So, Greg, let's talk a little bit about kind of what you do right now. Obviously, you're in a relationship, but you don't have kids, so you don't have the complexity of like getting kids to and from school. So that's a separate thing. But obviously, you're in a relationship. You want to have a life. You do have a team manager, so you don't have to be on call all the time. So your main job is generating and converting leads and stepping in to the situations with clients that need your expertise, right? You've got somebody else handling some of the detail work, which, by the way, anybody can get with, you can freelance with a transaction manager. It's not that difficult. So let's talk about what does that look like when those are the three main things that you do. What does your day look like?
What does my day look like? It looks very, very structured. I sent a screenshot of my calendar to my team manager. I said, Eileen, anywhere there's white, in there I did it again, Gene. I used the white.
White.
White. Anywhere there's white, add in my thing. Her response back was all caps, your calendar makes me dizzy. And I'm like, what, man? There's all kinds of spots and stuff in there, and there really isn't. But I mean, I stick by my schedule. I ride and die by my schedule, and I'm very, very. I stick to it. If it's in there, it's happening. And so I schedule them. Let me pull up my calendar so I actually know what the hell I'm talking about. Like in the morning times, I get up in the morning. I get up around 6, head to the gym, come back, do some sort of meditation and goal review at some level on Mondays, and then I do the mornings with McDaniel at around 8:30. Then I go directly into going on to Facebook and Instagram and trying to find people. Finding people to send out cards to. Try to send about 3 of those a day. After I get done with that, it could take 10 minutes. It could take an hour and a half. I have it scheduled in there for an hour and 45 minutes just in case I get writer's block or whatever. Then I go directly into either pre-recorded podcasts for this show, or I go into show prep for Sunday for the Sunday show. Then I have a coaching call at 1:30. Then I have a staff meeting with my sales reps for my radio show, and then I do beers and calls at 4:30 to 5:30. And then after that, I do potential coaching. And those are kind of the way I run my Mondays. And the way I run it like that is that I know that at 4:30 to 5:30 or 4 to 6 or somewhere in that variation that I'm going to be doing my prospecting calls. And people are always blown away at the fact that, gosh, you're so persistent and consistent on this. That's amazing. I'm like, well, yeah, man. I mean, how else are you going to get business? I mean, I also plan times in there for networking and happy hours and my networking events and door knocking. If I want to throw that in there, I have some blank space throughout the week. I can just throw some door knocking in the afternoons. But I make sure that every day there's some version of prospecting. And I don't care if that's going out and making some videos and then hiring Gene and his team to produce them for you, and then you can push them out into the internet and put $5 or $10 behind it, and letting the internet do the prospecting for you, pushing them to a landing page. There is, by the way, Gene, I'm playing with my DSLR now, and that thing is really fun. Oh my God.
Yeah, you can go deep into that for sure.
Oh, it goes so deep. You could leverage your time so efficiently. Let's say, and Gene, let's riff on this real quick. Let's say they get we'll just say I have the T7i, right?
Yeah, well, wait, real quick, explain what that is, because a lot of people listening might not know what a DSLR is.
It's a camera. It's a well, no.
Yours is the Canon Rebel T7i.
Canon Rebel T7i. I almost got the 6i like you, but they were out of stock, so I bought the newer one, like $20 more. Anyways, I got it with the video, boom on it and some other stuff, and it's really simple to go out and let's say you took 2 days out of every week or 3 days out of every week for a month or two, and all you did was film content, right? And get it over to Gene and his team. They get the raw content. They make it all pretty and nice. And then you have, let's say, Gene, if you did 2 days a week for a month, right? So 2, 4, 6, 8 days of filming. How many businesses do you think you could get for 2-minute commercials?
When you say
10?
when you say 8 days of filming, first of all,
what do you mean?
So if they took the DSLR and they went out to different businesses and they filmed interviews with the different businesses, like let's say, here's an example. My vacuum just crapped out on me last week, so I had to go get a new one, right? Or go get it fixed. So I was in there. I got the vacuum guy's card. I'm going to talk to Tom, who's the owner. And it's not sexy, but the guy's been there for 70 years. He's an established business. Go in there, film a commercial with him, have it produced, and then push it out to Facebook on his behalf with some money behind him. But if you get, let's say, 15 or 20 businesses that you have in the can, aka ads that are ready to go, what if you were to alternate those ads out onto Facebook? So you'd be basically, Gene, you'd be the mayor of your area by bringing value to the different consumers or different businesses. So your marketing, what I'm trying to say is your marketing is taking place digitally, consistently, without you having to be an operator of it, because you already put the work in ahead of time.
Well, let me take a step back for a second real quick. Number one, if we're talking to people that are listening right now, we're saying 8 days of anything, we're probably going to choke them to death, and they're never going to do anything. I would say if you can figure out a way to spend one full day doing 4 interviews, right? So
okay.
Let's just say we go to 4 different businesses on a Monday, and you spend an hour at each one and get 10 minutes of usable B-roll footage and 5 minutes of an interview, quick talk with somebody. You can produce enough content for that month that you'll never run out of stuff. I mean, most people that are listening to this won't be able to take all that video and have it edited and then cut it up and then schedule it to go out. There's already too much there. Mm-hmm. So if you spent a full day doing that stuff and then maybe a full day editing yourself or sending it to somebody to do for some kind of rate and then spending another couple hours each week cutting it up and promoting it on your social channels, you believe me, that's plenty of work.
I go for 8, you go for 1. I love how we always go different. This is the same problem Matt has had with me for the last 4 years. I'm like, but what if we spend 1,000? He's like, how about we spend 10?
Yeah, but listen, you forget that you're so adept behind the camera. Like that's what you do for 4 hours a day just by default. So you're different than the regular bird, right? You're talking to people that aren't even taking Instagram stories. Matt has that shitty grin on again. He likes something that I said there.
Greg is an odd bird, but yes,
he's an odd bird.
That's what I was laughing about. I was sorry, just the laundry list of examples of things I could bring up to illustrate that fine point that you made, Gene. But I digress.
I have one fine point every other episode.
Exactly. Every other show. Every other show.
But yeah, I know that these, like when you talk, I do enough speaking to agents where when I say take out your phone, shoot the video, load it to your laptop, and then let's talk about an editing program. I already know that 99.9% of them are done.
Yeah,
you got to make it as simple as possible and as quick as possible, and just get comfortable with being in front of the camera. And then what happens, like you said, I don't know if it was pre-show or now, you said that DSLR is a lot of fun, right? You can go down a rabbit hole. But here's what's happening. You're probably also realizing there's a lot more conversations coming your way because of different things you're doing with the camera. And when that happens and you're making money because of it, then it makes more sense to spend more time, more money with it, right?
Right. I mean, I had lunch with a gal this week, and we were just having some Chinese food, and we just having a good time talking. And all of a sudden, like, wait a minute, you pack people's houses. That means people are moving. She's like, oh, yeah. And so we started thinking, like, well, why don't we team up and do some videos together? She's like, that's great. I also have this other guy who's a networker. He can connect you with almost anybody. And I'm like, okay, well, let's get some of his buddies to do videos. And you can be the person that brought me in. We can all make some money at it. And she's like, yeah, that's a great idea. You're right. The camera really opens up opportunities that you can bring value, especially if they hire people like Gene. They can do the editing. Don't learn about doing editing, for fuck's sake, man. Just go shoot video. Give him and his team the content. They will cut it up. They'll make it look pretty, and they'll be done. But it is true because it's different than what the normal marketing is doing. No one else is doing this type of marketing. And the response that I'm getting is astronomically positive versus doing like cold calls. Cold calls, you get like shot like a rabid dog.
Can I add one more thing to it too? Because we're going to take this, like, instead of the 101, let's get to the 201.
Okay.
So the 201 becomes this. Like, when I'm saying that, I mean, like, college course. 101 is the entry level, right? 201 would be this. Get strategic in who you're interviewing, and then get strategic in the question that you ask them. So here's what I always do. Think 2 steps ahead, okay? So let's say, Greg, I would say to you in an interview, let's say you were a local business owner, and I come in and I say, all right, Greg, I'm going to ask you a round of 3 questions, rapid fire. I want you to answer them, and you can't talk about your own business in the answers. So number 1. Ready, Greg? Let's do it. Tell me what your favorite small, off-the-beaten-path restaurant is in your neighborhood to go to very quickly at last minute.
It's a Mexican place out in Oakley.
What's it called?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I can't remember. I can see it, though.
That's fine, but you get the idea. Okay, second part of it is, I know you like your beers. What's your favorite local brewery?
Right now, it's going to have to be the one right around the corner, and again, I'm blanking on it because it's got a great little beer garden. Well,
all right, so here, let me say something. In the 201 class, we find people that know the names of the goddamn businesses. Okay? Let's make sure that you know the business. But you're getting my point. Third part is your favorite spot to hit live music on a Friday night.
My couch.
All right, that's fair. That doesn't help us. But now think about what you just did. You just named 2 business owners in the video, right? And now what I can do is when I post that clip, that 1-minute clip, find out what Greg's favorite place to eat tacos is, we tag that restaurant in it, and we send an email out to that owner saying, hey, do you know what this local business owner said about your taco joint? Check it out. Now, don't you think they're going to share that?
Yeah.
And they may call me and say, yo, I want to do that rapid fire with you. How do we get on camera? I'll see you Tuesday.
Okay. I have the name of the place that I would go. Called Hops and Scotch.
Beautiful. Now what you do after this is we cut out the 1-minute segment where I asked you those questions and we talked about how to get the viral to go viral, and you send that to those guys and say, hey, I don't know if you saw this or not, but check out this 1-minute clip where I give you guys mad cat love. And
you go ahead and use it in your marketing. I just thought you guys might like it. Something like that.
Well, especially in real estate, too, because you're the local expert, right? So everybody wants to hear what your favorite place is to eat. Where's your place to go to music? Oh, I didn't know about that. I'm going to go listen to music there. Not your couch, but you understand what I mean.
Well, there used to be a brewery, Pyramid Brewery, downtown Walnut Creek. Every Friday they would have some guy come in or different people that come in and play music in the afternoons. So hot summer afternoon. Just roll out there, get a pitcher of beer, a big old plate of nachos, chill, and listen to live music under the shade with the misters on. Fuck yeah, dude. That's good times right there. I mean, you get to go then to Jenny Craig afterwards and try to lose all that weight you just gained. But it's sure damn tasty.
Yeah, I like that. So that's how you make it go viral. So you have them mention 2 or 3 other local businesses, then you tag them, reach out to them, let them know that they were mentioned by another local business owner. That makes the referral to the next set of businesses. You go and do that infinitely easier, which is true. I 100% believe that. But it also makes the original piece of content a lot easier to and more likely to spread and be shared, which I also agree with. So, yeah. I like that.
Yeah. I really like that. And now we're going to talk off air, Gene, and you're going to be my unofficial official mentor of the 3.0 version of this.
All right, so let's go back to the conversation about the daily schedule, if you don't mind, because we got off track in terms of like things you could do per week or per month. Greg, how do you, when you set your schedule and you say that you're a schedule Nazi, let's talk a little bit about when it comes up against the things that you don't want to do that you've put in your schedule. How do you get yourself to follow through? For example, your beers and calls. So part of what you did with that is you created some external accountability. So you say, okay, well, I'm going to do my prospecting, but I'm going to do it live in front of an audience. Mm-hmm. Now I have to show up at 4:30. Mm-hmm. What about some of the things you do behind the scenes, like send out cards, or some of those things where, you know what I'm saying, like the things that people don't see, the things that if you didn't do them, nobody would really know if you didn't follow through. How do you get yourself to follow through on some of those types of things?
Well, it's like that book, Eat That Frog. It's just like you got to do the nasty thing first. It's just gritting and bearing and just going and doing it. There's no secret remedy behind it. It's just nutting up and just making it happen. End of story. If you don't do it, look, it's like anything else. If you can't keep a promise to yourself, you can't expect anybody else to keep a promise to you. Because if you're not accountable to your own actions, then you can't be like, well, fuck you, Matt. You didn't follow through and do what you were supposed to do. Well, neither did you, man. So, I mean, there's zero accountability there. You just got to be a man or a woman of your word and just follow through. And don't allow yourself that out. I mean, I caught myself doing that the other day. I was dilly-dallying, and I've told this story. I was scared to death of making a call to set up lunches several weeks ago, right? Right. And I sat there and I played office for 30 minutes. I moved one pile of paper from here to there, and then from there to here. And then I'm like, gosh, dang it. I just said, okay, fuck this. And I just grabbed the phone and the card, and I dialed the number. And, dude, my heart was beating. I was scared. I really didn't want to make that phone call. But it was a very pleasant, very powerful connection. And we actually had her, Matt Kelly, on our show. We did a recorded session with her, and I tell that story on that episode. Yep. But it's just one of those things. You just do it. End of story. No excuses. If you have kids, like Matt's 3 obese, insulin-sucking, wood-denting little troll babies, and Julie, his beautiful wife, and a lot of people I ask, when I coach them, I say, look, your daughter is 5 years old, and she wants to go see Minnie Mouse, right? And you don't have a pot to piss in right now, and if you go make yourself accountable to a 5-year-old, and you have 2 stories that are going to be told at the end of this year. One, we're going to be going and we're going to go have breakfast with all the Disney characters. We're going to stay at the Disneyland Hotel. We're going to get all the preferential treatment because mommy or daddy did what they were supposed to do. That's one conversation. Mm-hmm. Second conversation is, mommy and daddy's a punk-ass fool who can't do shit and doesn't own up to their word. And you don't get any Christmas this year because we didn't make any money because I didn't follow through on what I told you I was going to do. That's going to crush your child's dreams. They're also going to learn work ethic from you at that point. So you're going to derail or put your kids on the right path, or either one, depending on your actions. So if you got kids, think about it in that way. What would your kids say if you promised something and didn't follow through? Would it crush you, or are you a heartless bastard and you wouldn't care? Matt.
I knew that was coming. Anytime somebody talks about being heartless, trot me out as the example. Yeah, I was going to say I would have no problem breaking a promise to a 5-year-old kid because I don't like kids, so it doesn't no hair off my chinny chin. But I do think that's evidence of here's what I like about that, Greg. This is what it says about you and the identity that you have built for yourself. It violates your sense of self to put something on your calendar and then not do it. So your only option really is either you figure out a way to not, like, you blow it off once and then you don't put it on your calendar again because you can't take the pain, or you figure out a way to force yourself to do it because it's more painful to like put something on the calendar and like promise yourself that you're going to do it and not follow through than it is to just kind of grin and bear it, suck it up and do it. Right. So I think that's that's just something that goes back probably to the way that you were raised, and it's something that we can kind of decide to follow through on. And like you said, you can bring up how would you put that? What you basically, what you did
Leverage.
with that exercise is it's like future pacing. You basically showed somebody how to like create this vision or this daydream of themselves either following through on their commitment and the results that they get and the rewards that come from it, or what happens when you violate your commitment and all the bad things that continue to happen if you continue to violate your commitments, and then like dial up the pain, right? So that
Make it
the pain, yeah, make it bright, make it big, make it vivid. Tony
Dude,
Robbins style.
I've done that on coaching calls, and I've literally made people cry.
Mm.
And they got real quiet, and I'm like, "You still there?" They, yep. I'm like, "Well, my job is done here, my child. Go in Christ." And I'm out of here.
You know, there's an important thing that you said too that and especially I like how you brought the gym into it. I heard somebody before say, and it may have even been on the show at one point, but you know, if you put something on your calendar and it's a very important meeting with a prospect or a client or a mentor or a pastor, you wouldn't miss that meeting or be late, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why is meetings with yourself any different?
True.
Yeah.
You know, and whether it's cold calling, and listen, I'm telling you that I break meetings with myself all the time. I mean, I'm not obviously
Gene.
not perfect. I do. You know, there's just some stuff you don't want to do, and time runs over on the last thing I was doing. It always gets intertwined. But for the stuff that's important enough, especially the things you know result in ROI, why would you break that meeting with yourself? A gym is a great example. You know, treat the gym as if you were going into a meeting with yourself. Put it on your calendar, get there, work hard during it, go home.
Yeah. And besides, I mean, this is one of my favorite sayings that someone said to me a long time ago, so I can't take credit for it, but they said, and this has to do with weight loss and physical fitness and everything else. They said, what you eat in private, you wear in public, right?
Yeah.
And so the exact same thing is true for prospecting. What you do in private, will be seen in public. So if you claim, oh, man, I'm a hustler, I'm a grinder, man, I do all this shit, but your numbers are flatline, like you're dead on arrival, well, how can you be doing all this prospecting if you're not getting any business? The law of averages and numbers will prove that is inaccurate. And then that goes into self-worth and your mental mindset, and you go down a spiral, and then it's just a horrible thing. So just don't go that way. Just go and just start owning up to what you want to do. Structure your day the way you will work, and then tweak it. You know, if you just need a nap in the afternoon, okay, take the nap, man. Totally cool. But then remember to get back up and get back to work.
Oh, thank you. I missed that part of it. I know what I'm doing wrong.
I mean, not always, just sometimes.
3 days a week.
Often enough. That's right. I mean, Winston Churchill style. It's a nice afternoon nap.
A siesta.
Yeah. Like a siesta. Yeah, that's I mean, I'll dip in a little bit here. I'm very much the same way, Greg, that you are in the sense of I'm a calendar Nazi, and the things that are on my calendar have been kind of a nice like it's always evolving, always experimenting. I'm always looking for some improvement or tweak, but for the most part, it's stayed relatively consistent. One thing I will say that's really helped me, which is a little bit different from a daily schedule, which is to have kind of a theme for certain days of the week. For example, I don't load myself up with a bunch of calls on Monday.
Ooh, when's Naughty Pirate Day?
More wenches. Sadly, there's not a Naughty Pirate Day, but I may have to add that to the calendar. Wow, that caught me off guard, actually. Naughty Pirate Day. Okay, moving on.
Wow.
So it's Dan Sullivan has some great stuff on this. It's in his kind of entrepreneurial. I don't remember what he calls it. It's not operating system, something else. The entrepreneurial system or something like that. But he talks about just having like focus days and days where you really stay in your zone of genius and really focus on the most important things that you bring to the table in your business. And then having other days that are more just catch up, paperwork, admin, stuff that's not super, it's not really in your zone of genius. It's the lesser important stuff that you can do. So I've kind of taken that to heart. So like I have Tuesdays and Thursdays are my days when I really have most of my calls with my team. Mm-hmm. It's really delving into operations. Most of my client calls take place on Tuesday, Thursdays. I do, a couple of podcasts on Wednesdays here and there, but for the most part, Mondays are for writing content, writing the book. Wednesdays, I'm starting to set aside more on Wednesday mornings for writing. And then Friday morning is like, business coaching, one last check-in with my operations manager, this podcast, and then usually calls in between that with clients or candidates or whatever. So and then at the afternoon, for the most part, I've learned just with my energy levels and how I operate best, I don't have a lot booked in the afternoon. I try to stack everything up in the mornings. So it's just been a lot of experimentation and evolving to arrive at that system that kind of works for me. And I think everybody listening, just don't be afraid to try new stuff and realize that your calendar is always kind of in flux.
We totally lost your audio for a little bit there, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Hopefully that's just on my side.
Yeah, I think it was. I didn't lose him. I don't think.
Oh, you didn't? Gene, you didn't lose me? Okay.
No,
perfect.
I don't think so.
Okay, good. Then it's just my side. Cool.
Yeah. I was wondering, Greg, because I noticed you were talking, but I thought you were muted. So it may just be on your side. But
okay.
Yeah. So that's my 2 cents on that. Gene, anything you have to contribute on the daily schedule before we start to close things down?
I literally didn't hear any of that, so I'm like, wait, what'd you say? I gotta go back and watch the show.
That's why I didn't ask for your helpful comments on my soliloquy.
Hey, let me go ahead and bail you out.
10-4.
Yeah. Yes.
Good job, buddy.
Yes.
Exactly what you just said. Yes. No, but I'm curious. I don't have anything to add, but I am curious as to what your like in the real estate world. Give me an example of your days of genius. Like as a real estate agent, what would that? That was very vague. What does that look like?
Well, so for real estate, like to me, that would be the things that are occasional, that aren't your daily prospecting, but that serve the same purpose, right? So either your long-term strategic thinking and decision-making probably needs a block of time set aside. That would be kind of in your zone of genius. The other things would be like, Greg, your Rockstar Connect events, right? If you're going to go out and do something where you go interview business owners, to me, that's what I would set aside time like that. That would be an extension of prospecting or marketing. This is a different form. It doesn't need to be done every day. So I would look at what's the best time of the week where I can set time aside for that, where I know it's not going to get infringed upon by other stuff, right? So if you get to Thursday afternoon, and Thursday afternoon is always a catch-up day, and you've always got paperwork, and it just seems to never materialize that you have the time, don't book your, appointments to go out to local businesses on Thursday afternoons. Book them for some other time of the week. So, but yeah, Gene, to answer your question, that's kind of what I think of in terms of like, what are some of those like things that only need to be done once a week or once every couple of weeks that's in a zone of genius for a real estate agent?
Okay.
So here one thing about the zone of genius, I think, and this is for me as well, I'm afraid of doing marketing that's fun. Because it's been traditionally beat into me, like it has to be hard, it has to be grinding, you have to do it. But I think, honestly, I think this is why I haven't, shot too much with the DSLR yet, because it's fun. So how do you get over that concept, guys? Of if it's fun, it can't be work.
I focus on my business. My business model is built directly around fun. If it's not fun, I don't incorporate it. I'm the exact opposite of what you're talking about. I started a podcast called Barbells and Brews over in my area, where in the gym for an extra hour, which I love to do anyway, and we're drinking beer. So people said, "What do you want out of it?" I said, "I want free beer." We've already got a sponsor on that sends us free beer. So mission accomplished, baby.
Gene, who is your sponsor?
Oh, Tavor. We're not allowed to say that on here.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, we are?
Oh, yeah.
Tavor. T-A-V-O-U-R. It's an app for beer junkies.
Yeah, and Gene got me hooked on it. But, Gene, what is your code if people want to go try Tavor? Because the beers really are good, and they're totally not what you're going to find in Safeway. They're total microbrews. They're a lot of alcohol. Holy shit. I drank a 13%er yesterday. I'm like, good God.
Yeah, they are good. They're good. We got a crate coming next week. If you sign up and put in the code Barbells, like the Barbells and Brews podcast, they'll give you $10 off your first shipment of $25.
So worth it.
Yeah.
So worth it.
Love it.
See?
Thank you for that.
All right. See, and here I thought, Gene, you were getting sponsored by a hiking sandal company, but that's okay.
You'll never catch me in sandals, bro.
You'll get there, buddy. All right. So, Gene, what's the besides the podcast, what's the best way for people to reach out and connect with you?
Well, always my website or the Gene Volpe on Instagram, or check out Gene Volpe, Digital Architect on Facebook. But GeneVolpe.com has everything you need: phone numbers, ways to chat with me. It's the easiest way.
Cool. All right, Greg, same question for you.
What? Oh, how to get a hold of me?
Yes.
Sorry, I was reading the funny comment over here on the side. Veronica Jones wrote, she's writing to Paul Franklin. Well, we've got to find it again. It was absolutely hilarious. We need to organize an REU fan meetup. Paul, LOL. Come dressed as your favorite Greg.
Which we should take note. I don't think anybody's talked about his awesome shirt that says mildly offensive.
Yeah.
It's a great shirt, except it's a little bit of a lie because there's no mildly involved. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a lie. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love you guys. My cheeks hurt after this. All right, go to bookmcdaniel.com. Again, it's bookmcdaniel.com. Let's talk about EXP, guys. Let's talk about how we can join our tribe and what we are building over here. It is a lot of fun. We have a lot of access to a lot of content. Matt doesn't even know this, but I was having a discussion with another gentleman yesterday that he's going to be coming on and with us on our RE tribe, on our EXP tribe, and he has a metric fuck ton of content and stuff he's going to be able to gift to you when you guys join our team. And I'm legitimately serious about this. I mean, this stuff is really good stuff. So go to bookmcdaniel.com. I will show you mathematically on a spreadsheet how our company will make you more money than yours. And if it doesn't, go stay at your company. No harm, no foul. Just keep listening to the show. Mm-hmm. Speaking of listening to the show, after you go to bookmcdaniel.com and you get 30 glorious minutes with me, Matt, how can they spend glorious time with you?
Well, they cannot. So that's how glorious it is I am famously unavailable to spread my glory. But you can go rate and review the show. Go to Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever, leave a 5-star rating or review. However, I will say this, which I don't talk about enough on the show, by the way. If you want to get booked as a guest on podcasts, and Gene, this goes for you. I did a whole training with this with one of my favorite clients, Dana Malstaff. She's the founder of Boss Mom. She's been featured all over the place. Entrepreneur on Fire, Social Media Examiner, Pat Flynn's Smart Passive Income, you name it, she's been on the show. So I did a training with her on how do you be a good podcast guest and get featured on the right shows that put you in front of your ideal clients. So you can go grab that training at pursuingresults.com/training. And then I also share a little bit about the training I created for assistants to help pitch you consistently. So if you have somebody on a team, or if you could hire like a VA to pitch you as a podcast guest, I've got the training for them. So that's what that's all about. So that is the best way. If they want to spend time with me, that's pretty much the only way for people to do it right now, because that's where all my focus is on promoting that.
That's good stuff. Go check that out. That's some good shit. You got to talk about that more, man.
Yeah, I know. Well, we just did we revised the training. We just got the whole kind of thing set up again. So it's only been up and out and available for like a week. So this is the first live episode we've done since that's been live again.
And I actually know your client, Dana. I actually saw her episode on the Social Media Examiner.
Did you really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really good.
It was really good.
Yeah, that's actually that appearance on. She was interviewed on one podcast who Michael Stelzner listens to. So Michael Stelzner brought her on the Social Media Examiner podcast. Turns out that was a screening kind of interview to have her speak at Social Media Marketing World, which she did a couple of months ago. Yeah. So one podcast appearance like late last year directly led to her getting on stage at Social Media Marketing World.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You never know. One podcast appearance can change your life.
You never know. All right. Pick a color, Johnson Face.
Oh, I'm just going to meditate a little bit.
Naked meditation for a color.
It's fully clothed meditation. Thank you very much.
I just want to paint pictures in people's minds that are going to harm them. That's all.
Well, gee, that's, the thought of me meditating naked is like damaging to people's retinas. Thank you. Appreciate it. Love you too, buddy. All right, just for that, black bow, color of death.
Just like your heart.
That's right.
Color of death.
The color of deep, dark coal. We'll wrap a black bow around this episode.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching and listening. We love you to pieces. Obviously, we have an absolute blast doing these shows. If you found this humorous, offensive, or educational, please share it with somebody, because we want to keep this going and we want to get more people into our REU tribe so that we can keep helping people get better at the real estate industry with the guests and the humor that we provide. So we love you. Matt kind of likes you. Gene adores you. And until next time, peace out, ninjas. We're gone. And I have to turn the damn